As we said, Labour MP Liam Byrne, chair of the Commons Business and Trade Committees with us. What do you make of this?
I felt pretty sick, actually, at the tragedy of it all, because the truth is that if that technical expert had been called, if that case had proceeded, if that evidence had got on the record, it could be that the whole Horizon scandal would have never have happened, and those thousands of lives would have never been ruined. So, look, now we need the Post Office to tell us whether there's anything else like this that they've got. We're writing to the Post Office today to demand disclosure of any documents like this, because once you've got one conviction overturned, it becomes possible for us to argue that the laws that were passed last year that exonerated the Horizon scandal victims could now be given the same kind of carve-out from the law that they probably deserve.
I mean, it's interesting, so you're writing to the Post Office there if there's more of this. Can you trust their reply?
Well, we've got to start where we can start. So just insisting that they disclose to Parliament any documents that they have got that might reveal that there were problems with the capture system is the first step. Ultimately, we need to make sure that justice is done, because many of these victims are at risk of actually dying before they see justice. That can't be a situation that we can tolerate.
And Liam, what's the likelihood, do you think, of that blanket exoneration that could be extended to capture victims? Because remember, at the time, there was a lot of pushback from the judiciary. I imagine extending it was supposed to be a one-off. What's the likelihood of it?
I think it's going to be tough, because you're right, the judiciary was really unkeen on this kind of measure. But if we can show that at least one of those convictions is unsafe, because this kind of evidence was not available or was not presented to the court, then I think Parliament will want to push on this and push on it really hard, really fast.
Okay.
Have you been disappointed as well at the slow pace of things like payouts for the Horizon scandal? I know this is a long-running issue, and your party's been in government for nearly a year or so now. I mean, why does it all take so long?
That's a great question. I mean, the payouts have now gone through the £1 billion mark, so there has been progress, but it's not job done. And so the first report that we did as a committee earlier this year was to say, look, here is the myriad of ways in which you can improve every single one of these redress schemes. Government took some of those recommendations on board, but not all of them. But look, our committee is determined to stay on the case. We don't think that our job as a committee will be done until every single Horizon victim has got the justice and the redress that they deserve.
And sorry, Liam, just to bring you back to the CCRC again, because that's one of the most important things now, isn't it? It's getting justice for people speedily, those who've been potentially wrongfully convicted. You're writing to the CCRC to ask for a timescale. Is there sort of a cut-off that if you don't have something for one case at least before the end of the year, say, then you have to move on to the next step of trying to get that blanket exoneration? What if we're waiting another year and a half, 2 years? Is there a cut-off? Because obviously people are in poor health or advancing years. They may not live, as you say, to see justice.
That's a great question. I mean, I think we want to see progress this year. I mean, remember that the CCRB has been reviewing these cases for some time. Your investigation has now tabled this, frankly, breakthrough new evidence. It's going to be hard for us to understand whether there's going to be much of a delay, frankly, in considering it and coming to a conclusion. But I think Parliament, is alive to the risk that people are dying before they get justice. And, that is not the British way. So we have got to make sure that this year we've got a decision, frankly, as fast as possible.
Adele, I should know the answer to this, but did we get to a point, or is it still in the cards, of criminal convictions for leaders of the Post Office at any point during this?
That's not happened yet. I think that there's investigations going on behind the scenes. Operation Olympus for the Post Office. Anyone involved, basically, from... I can't really say names or anything like that. We don't know officially who they are. But I think what we'll see in terms of accountability will be potentially after the inquiry comes back, which we've got phase 1 next month, and then the final conclusion to the whole of the Post Office Horizon inquiry, possibly the end of this year or next year, we don't know. So I think it'll be after that, because the police will want to see what the conclusions are, but that's carrying on behind the scenes. With regards to capture, though, it's a good question. What accountability is there for capture? Because that wasn't included in the Horizon inquiry.
Well, no. And that was where I was going to come to, Liam, on this. If this report was known about and explicitly, purposefully, which we aren't sure of at this point, but if it was purposefully withheld from an ongoing criminal investigation that led to a conviction, I mean, that does imply that there should be severe repercussions, does it not?
It does. I think it's going to be very hard to do, though, given how much time has passed. and it will be really difficult to actually prove who was at fault. So it could have been a decision that was taken by the defence barrister actually on the day. The defence barrister may have thought that actually he or she had a case that was kind of ready to go and they didn't need this particular evidence. You know, do you then kind of hold the barrister to account for that? You start to get into some very difficult questions, and I think memories have faded. So I think actually holding people to account for the capture cases is going to be really challenging.